Welcome to the Good Day Show. I'm Heron Rowe.
And I'm Amy Liu. New York City has always been known as a melting pot. Despite its diversity, marginalized groups and cultures are often underreported and unrepresented in today's media.
Today we have a guest who has celebrated multiculturalism through her own company. Her identity as a colored woman inspires the work she does today.
With that being said, Sylvia, would you mind introducing yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Sylvia Wong Lewis, and I'm the founder and CEO of Narrative Network, founded here in New York City.
Great. So you're a very ethnically diverse person, which relates to our theme today, diversity in New York. Can you explain a little bit about your background before we talk about your company?
I've always been interested in ethnicity and race and culture and background because I come from a very multicultural combination in my family. I'm a combination of African American and Chinese. And so that means that I understand a lot about race because I came up in a time where the country was very polarized in terms of race. America was a very racist country. It still is, actually. I was born in 1952, so I was in school in the early 60s during the height of the civil rights movement, and when it was everything was segregated. It was the colored and the white people.
So it's really clear that you know a lot about race. Can you tell me about how you've channeled your own racial identity into your company?
Well, yes, my identity has played a big role into what I do now. I started out as a journalist, and I'm glad to be here at this journalism school here at NYU. But when I have to tell you, when I first started out, as I told you, I was one of the first women of color editors at a daily newspaper in 1974 at the Boston Globe. And I didn't realize, I guess I did realize how segregated and how unintegrated or how undiverse journalism was. And then I did realize that most of the stories I knew about never got in the news. I knew that, but it was just the way it was. Now that you have more diversity, you do hear more diverse stories. But back then, that was the reason why we had separate newspapers. We had separate black papers, separate Spanish. You still have separate Spanish papers and Asian newspapers, like those of you who are doing, the newspaper, and then those of you who are doing broadcasts. Well, I grew up during a time where newspapers was the big deal, and my background is newspapers. So I did start out as a journalist. So how my company came about was that while I was a journalist, I was always asked to write stories and do things that was about our people, our community, important issues, like, for instance, like if somebody was missing or if somebody achieved something, or it could have been anything. But basically, all you got about the black community or the people of color were crime stories and negative stories. And so because I was someone that worked in the media, mainstream media, I was always asked to write, or to do publicity for them or to do their public relations. So I had another job beside my regular job. I always had like this side job that was like a business, a side business. And so then as time went on, then I worked at several newspapers. I used to teach. I taught journalism. Then I even started my own newspaper, as you may know. It's called the Caribbean American, and that was really a big splash here in New York. Then that went out of business, and then I got a job at the MTA, and I worked in their communications department. And there we had newsletters and publications, and TV shows, and webisodes, and all kinds of things. And then when I left there, I said, I'm going to set up my own company because I've been doing this all this time. So, I've been doing kind of multicultural news, and there wasn't really any such thing as multicultural news. It's kind of like, I was part of a group of people who was pioneering, kind of multicultural news.
Okay, and do you have any examples of multicultural news or projects you've done?
Well, I can say last year we had a big project with the Japanese, the Kakahashi organization, and actually it was a baseball project, but it was, we wanted to have the Japanese tsunami survivors and the Storm Sandy survivors, kids, play ball. And so that was a project that we did. And we created a film project, too. It was called The Healing Game. The Japanese government paid for them to come. And then we created a program for them to play baseball and have a kind of cultural exchange program with American kids. Both these groups of kids had survived natural disasters. The Japanese children survived the tsunami, and the American kids survived the Storm Sandy. So that's, that was an amazing project for my company to work on.
Do you have any other future projects that you have in mind?
Well, actually, yeah, I'm hoping this is going to happen, but we're looking at a project that's with Japanese women. I didn't realize how it is in Japan. Even though I've been to Japan, I didn't realize that you don't really have entrepreneurs like you have here in New York. I mean, when you look up women entrepreneurs in New York, there's like thousands and thousands of them here. Now, you look up Japanese women entrepreneurs in Japan, you won't find one, maybe two, that maybe somebody knows about. They don't have organizations. They don't have. So anyway, we were approached by a Japanese organization to hold a conference. And so that's what my company is working on. We're supposed to hold a conference for Japanese women to be able to network with New York women entrepreneurs. It's like a women-to-women kind of thing. This would be totally new because that is not something that they do in Japan.
And that's the thing I noticed about your company, that you really tend to focus on women. Why is that?
Well, I think that our stories are more important, and I could say I think our stories are more important and we're better than the men. As I grow more mature and older, and that I can see that when you help women, you're really helping a whole community. So this is why I really do focus on women, because I know just from experience, I had to, work a whole lifetime to feel that, there's value in working in these communities that are underserved, underrepresented.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that in the future we'll hear more stories about women and diversity in general. If you want to learn more about Sylvia and her work at Narrative Network, visit her website at YoNarrative. That's YoNarrative.com.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Sylvia. Again, I'm Amy Liu.
And I'm Heron Rowe. Thanks for listening, and we hope you have a good day.